pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Obviously, John Pillsbury is not here. We've got Jennifer Rich,
Here.
Eileen Farmer,
Here.
and John Kincaid here. Review of June minutes.
You want to do that now?
Yeah, we'll do the review of the minutes first, I think.
So, here are the minutes from June 1st, and I make a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay, and then I guess, do we want to go ahead with the public meeting? Do we want to wait a few minutes and see if a few more people show up?
That's-
Or is that okay with you if we wait a few minutes on the public meeting? Okay,
I'll follow your directions.
Okay.
I'm just here to hear what's going on.
okay, well, we appreciate you being here.
Absolutely. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I guess while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and just kind of run through my report. So upcoming events, we do have the co-ed softball nights beginning this Friday. It'll be this Friday, next Friday, and the following Friday at 7 p.m. at the park. Jesse has been coordinating that, and it sounds like it's going to be pretty well attended. So I think you said we have enough for 4 teams and then some alternates.
Yeah, we could have done 5 teams, but it just would have been mean, so.
Perfect.
So we have about 50.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Good deal.
And concessions too, Boy Scouts. That's exciting. So come out and watch.
Yes. I will try to make it there. I'm supposed to be helping with the cleanup after church camp, I guess. So.
Yeah, we have to go pick up the stuff.
Yeah. I guess that's up on the night.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right, and then as far as projects go, completed projects, we were able to finish the bridge grip strips thanks to the help of Spencer Industries. It was pretty impressive, really. They brought about 12 people and we were done in 4 hours roughly. So it all went pretty well.
They look really good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The sports lighting, in some discussions that we've had, I think the soccer field is where we're going to start first. And probably just do the lights for now, since the pole locations will probably move once we start getting further into our master plan, followed by the Jay Cutler field, because the poles there are about half the age of the rest of them, so they've still got some life in them. We're in the process of looking into some private grants for that. Obviously, following tonight's meeting, we will continue finalizing our application for the Land and Water Conservation Fund through the DNR. That's due August 1st, so I'm hoping to have that finished here in the next week or two. And we'll be working with CHA and Clint Rose as well as part of that group to make sure that that's all in order before we submit it. We have begun repainting at the park. We finished up about 40 trash cans last week, and then we're going to start on the goalposts and foul poles, and then the doors as well on the buildings at the park. So, the community center, the renovation that JK Forever Homes did on the foyer restroom is now complete. Much nicer, a lot more space than the old restrooms that were there, and I think it's going to fit very nicely. We are also in the process of reorganizing the janitor and storage closets. We finally got everything kind of consolidated down to 1 or 2 closets, just building some more shelving and tool storage, and then some of our outside rooms need a little bit of attention as well. They were kind of overflow storage for Christmas decor and things of that nature. And then the other project that we're going to be starting, we have about 10 doorknobs that need to be converted over to handles for ADA reasons, and we're reaching out. We actually reached out to Feltz. I've included it with my report. Basically, this would be if they were to replace everything and rekey the entire building. Right now, I'm in the process of going through a pile of keys, trying to ascertain which ones go with which doors. I mean, obviously we have keys for each door, but we want to see how many duplicates we have and if there's some that can be disposed of. And then the process of getting new handles, we're going to formulate a plan of how we want things rekeyed, thinking about, long-term rentals like office spaces, as well as short-term rental, daily rental of the large room. As far as storage closets, the kitchen, that type of stuff. But that, just kind of give you an idea, that roughly $3,000 figure is probably on the high side. I would venture to say it'll probably come in somewhere about half that, or maybe just a little bit more. So, well within our budget, so I think we'll go ahead and proceed on that. And then the other item of note, on the trails, Casper Gate, we did redo the landscape bed. We planted about 70 switchgrasses and we remulched. And my hope is that by this time next year, those are nice big plants. So, I really like the native grasses. They're a lot easier to maintain. You can prune them in the spring, trim all the dormant growth or dead growth back, and spray whatever you need to spray. In the past, we had some osier dogwood and some other broadleafs that, just because we're spread so thin, it's kind of hard to stay on top of, and you'd have to do a lot of hand weeding because you're kind of limited once you have broadleafs in the bed as to what you can spray.
This year.
Thank you.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. It looks, in the trails and stuff, too, I've actually walked on some, and I mean, the mowing of it, I think looks really, really good.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, so as far as, things that may need a motion, one thing that Jesse and I discussed is the food truck fees as part of our fees ordinance for Park and Rec. Whenever we had reestablished this about 2 or 3 years ago, I guess, 2 years ago? We went to like a deposit model, where basically they would pay $100 fee, 75 would be refunded when it shows up, or when they show up. And even with that in mind, we had trucks that still weren't showing up. And it's kind of creating, a documentation problem where like the clerk treasurer's office has to refund $75, so they have to put it in their books twice. We have to make sure the money gets back to people. And so with that in mind, talking with Jesse, I think we should probably recommend to the council that we amend that fee to just a $25 non-refundable. And it is what it is. So,
Do you need a motion?
yeah, we would need a motion to recommend that to the council, I believe.
I'll make a motion to make the $25 non-refundable.
Yes, I second this.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
The other item of note, I thought I had a brochure printed off, but I did not. Okay, so I've got 3 quotes for a robotic mower at the park. Basically, this unit has an RTK base station that we would mount, probably in the center of the facility on the probably field 2 concession stand building. Basically that triangulates GPS signal, and that's what keeps this thing where it needs to be. And then you can map out all your fields. It has a 1-day capacity of about 9 acres. So realistically, you're probably gonna need to mow it 2 to 3 times a week, just because this is totally different than a traditional mower. It doesn't have like large standard size blades running at high RPM, well, at least not with that much power behind them. These are small cutting discs. I think there's 5 on the unit. There's 5 cutting discs, and they have razor blades all the way around them, basically a large razor blade that is screwed into the deck, and that's what does your cutting for you. So basically think about a unit that's just walking around with like a pair of scissors, just cutting the tips off of your grass rather than trying to take like 3 or 4 inches at once. So I think realistically, from a fuel and maintenance perspective, and even from a labor perspective, I think we can conservatively save probably $3,000 to $5,000 a year. And I think it could be more than that. The biggest thing is with our limited workforce, I can redeploy the guys to do other things, whether that's focusing on landscape beds, spraying, fertilizing on the sports fields that we have. Even whenever we have not equipment breakdowns, but issues like plumbing issues, toilet repairs, things like that.
rather than having to drop what we're doing and get that fixed, they'll be able to kind of take those tasks in stride, and it'll hopefully free me up to do more of the administrative stuff and hopefully have a good game plan going forward with these budget cuts that the state has handed down to us. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. So with that in mind, I did get the 3 quotes. I'll read those off, Eileen, if you don't mind to take some notes. So this is for an FJ Dynamics Titan is the model. And the same mower was spec'd and solicited from companies that are dealers for this specific brand and model. The first is from the RoboZone. And they have 2 different payment options here, well actually 3. The first is a wire transfer. The second is with standard payment, which would be credit card or check, and then they also do offer business financing, but that is not listed in terms of the terms. The highest dollar amount for standard payment type would be $22,999 even. The second is from EcoMo. And that is in the amount of $29,999 even. And the third is from Automation Hub. And so the base mower is $23,000. They have an installation set up in the amount of $2,000, and then they have an annual service agreement in the amount of $1,200 a year. So in total, that comes to $26,200 for the first year, and then after that, we would have to pay $1,200 for their service agreement.
Is there any substantial difference between these mowers, like as far as?
They're all the same model.
Same model?
Yep.
everything on it?
Yep. And these all include shipping, so, let's see.
If we need to have some work done on them, I guess they come with a pretty good warranty, or?
I'll have to, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly, I believe it is a, standard 5-year warranty, I believe.
And we would have to ship it off, I'm assuming, because nobody around here works on them.
Correct. So the dealer RoboZone is from Erie, Pennsylvania. EcoMo is Temple, New Hampshire. And Automation Hub is, let's see, I believe it's Arkansas. Either Arkansas or Missouri, I can't remember which. So yeah, I guess that's the question. In terms of the bottom dollar, the RoboZone is the cheapest by $1, but then they don't specify any type of service agreement or anything of that nature. I'm not sure, I'd have to check. Probably have to check with Pat more on that, in terms of, okay, do we take the bottom dollar? Do we reach out further to get clarification on, support? Just because they do kind of all have different specs, I guess, not specs, but different package.
Does it come with extra blades? I mean, is it fairly easy to replace the blades on this thing?
Yeah, basically, you flip the thing over, and then they have like a screw with Loctite on each cutting deck all the way around. I think there's like 8 to 10 blades. I can't remember the exact number on each cutting deck. So then basically, you can unscrew them, flip them over, and get another use out of them.
but I would say it's probably gonna be like once or twice a month thing, flipping those out, but I can't imagine that they're super expensive. I mean, no more than what you're gonna pay for a standard set of mower blades, probably once or twice a year. Um, yeah. Yep.
I think I was keeping up, but.
How much did we just pay for our new one?
So that was about 16,000, I believe it was 15,999.
And then, of course, we do all the labor and fuel with that, so.
Yeah, and we still do have all the trail mowing and mowing in town.
So we'll still-
We're not really gonna be able to automate, the other
This is
mowers.
really, this is this is your football field or some soccer field, your,
The stuff that we're repeatedly mowing every week, it'll probably go from like a two to three time a week to like 3 or 4 time a week on those fields specifically.
yeah.
We may, once we get comfortable with it on the sports fields, try to move it into some of our larger lots, like open spaces. And just kind of keep an eye on things. You know, I don't think this is going to be a silver bullet, tomorrow all of our problems go away. But I do think, especially as we look toward the future with the crew that we have, just because it is mostly retired folks,
Sure,
they're eventually gonna be fully retired.
sure.
And as we've seen in the past, you can put out job postings and put them on social media and everything, but you may get 1 or 2 hits a year.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, we've got to kind of figure out how we're going to keep it all going.
Well, and I think the upfront cost, obviously, is, it's a lot of money, but you gotta look at the long-term tail of it, on what you're saving, without having to hire, what you said too, service maintenance, fuel, buying blades, all 9 yards, wear and tear on those mowers, so. So, I think it's the way of the future, so.
Me too.
I can reach out for further clarification. I guess if you guys want to, you could make a recommendation to the council to the lowest responsible quote and just take it under my advisement. I think we do want to take it out of special fund, though. We've got probably about 60,000 in there.
Yeah.
To me, that makes the most sense. It'll just require council approval.
So if we want to make a motion for Zach to take the council to take the funds out of, special funds.
With it, and RoboZone,
as
sort of
well.
cheapest, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And you could word it just like maybe lowest responsible quote, and take it under my advisement.
Okay. I'll make a motion to, recommend the lowest quote under Zach's advisement.
Yes. I second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
All right. Thank you very much. I believe that's all I have. Thank you so much for your patience. I think we'll go ahead and, we'll probably open the public meeting now. And we can discuss that. If you'd like to, you can, take a look at those documents there. That kind of shows you the playground and the parking layout. So, John, do you want to go ahead and call or open the public meeting?
Now go ahead and call, the, public meeting for the Jim Yellen Park Phase 1A master plan.
So, while this gentleman, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Chris Ninehouse.
Chris? Ninehouse?
Ninehouse.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate you being here, Chris. While you take a look over those documents, I'm gonna we'll discuss with the board here.
Go for it, I can listen to it at the same time.
Okay, perfect. So, CHA did get us, obviously a preliminary site map, and then renderings as well through Landscape Structures, which is also basically they're kind of the equipment company of Play Pros, like they're provided for Play Pros. So basically, in me thinking through the amenities of the playground, obviously we want to have some multiplay features like we currently have. We want to have accessible features, inclusive features. We really don't have a whole lot of that, if we have any at all. Swings, we don't have any swings. So I think those are kind of the 3 overarching criteria. We want to have something for all ages that's inclusive, and we want to have features that we don't currently have. And kind of browsing through their offerings, They offer a lot of different multi-play structures based on the aesthetic that you're going for, based on the type of play that you're going for. I think, basically from 6 months all the way up. From a swing perspective, I think obviously we want to have some standard swings, we want to have some toddler swings, and then they also have some pretty innovative, inclusive types of swings as well. Not just something that, a child can access from a wheelchair and be harnessed in, but they also have a buddy swing where basically you can put 2 people in the swing, they can swing together, whether it be mom, grandpa, and kid. They have, actually it's a larger, almost like not really like a teeter-totter, but it like pivots back and forth, and you can actually see like 4 people in it, and you can include 2 people in wheelchairs if you wanted to. Obviously, a feature like that's going to be a little more in cost, but it is an inclusive option that we could include. I think one piece that I really like looking through their offerings is a merry-go-round. Basically, it's built-in ground level so that anyone can access it. I think you can have probably 4 to 6 people on it at once. I think that would be a really nice piece to have as well. As far as multi-plays, the sky's the limit. I mean, you could spend as much as you want to spend. You can have all kinds of slides coming off of it. You can have climbing features, like rope climbing features and things like that. So I think that's kind of my thoughts on it. I don't know if you all have any thoughts on what you'd like to see in a playground.
No, I think my main thing was looking at inclusive, and I think we're on the right track with that, so.
And swings.
Swings. Well, and then sensory features as well, interactive play things for kids, and whether that's music.
I mean, that was
Especially along the
kind
parking
of
lot.
decided like where we were gonna go, so we had a fence, you can like relax. I don't know. I just think with the parking in the road right there, I just wanna make sure we can factor that in. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
I think that would be very easy to design in. Chris, do you have any thoughts?
No,
No?
I mean, what I've seen looks good.
Excellent. Any other input? Like, is there anything that you think of when you think of a playground that?
I would just make sure you got something that's there soft for them, because you know how kids fall and where you're not running around with that all the time.
Yeah, yep. And I think,
Board rubber, right?
yeah, we're either poured rubber or artificial turf,
You're
depending
talking
on.
about like what they have over to Owensboro to Smothers Park.
Yeah, that would be like poured rubber, or then like some of the school corporation playgrounds now have artificial turf with rubber infill. So that's kind of what we're thinking. Based on the preliminary site design that CHA sent over, removing the playground, or the parking lot next to the existing playground, I think should help give us some space as well, and I do think the fence is a good idea. So I think we've got kind of a natural barrier and a fence. And then obviously, sunshades and seating area above the playground as well, in addition to the existing shelter house. So I think it's a good start. One thing, and I don't know, I need to send it all out to you. I don't think I've had time to do that yet, but they do have a Christmas theme with the renderings that they provided, and I do think that's great. I would like to get a better understanding though of what kind of cost that adds to the project.
Yeah.
I think I would much rather see a red, white, and green, or red, tan, and green color scheme that has more playground equipment than extra cost and custom features.
It's great for all the aesthetics, if you can get that, Christmas stuff and all that, if you can get like 30% more features for, without having a reindeer. I think you're obviously better off to get more bang for the buck. So.
Yeah, I think if we were investing in the kind of playground that's like a tourist destination, like a swimming park or like I think it would be maybe more important. But I think it's depends on what kind of scale we're looking at, and I think like for what we're looking at, I don't think that's like, it's like most per detail.
Sure. Excellent. I think the other thing that the site map details is the parking, as well as the access from the parking along the road down to the playground. So if you get a chance to take a look at that, that'd be great. And like I said, Jesse and myself will be working very closely with CHA over here in the next week or two to make sure we get our our ducks in a row, and really the finer details of the equipment and things doesn't need to be finalized. It's more just site map, roughly the budget for the equipment itself and all that. That's kind of the important part. So, this will be an ongoing process. If we are selected by the state committee, we'll have notice by the end of the year, and then it will go to federal funding round, and they will determine the number of projects and the extent to which they will fund the projects that were selected by the states. So realistically, we're probably looking at late next year. If we were to receive the grant, we're looking at late next year to start construction. We can't start any construction activity until we've been selected. But if we're not selected by the state committee, then I think we just forge ahead and we've got plenty of other projects in the future that could be good candidates for an LWCF grant. So, but I think the biggest thing overall, to your point, Jennifer, is accessibility and inclusivity are huge scoring criteria in how they rank these things. So I think we're a really good candidate.
Yeah, and it's just so needed, I mean, it's, the equipment down there is just, it's fast, it's life, use, everything else, I think just from a risk management standpoint, families and kids showing up and stuff, I'm hoping, praying that that's, where we are awarded, so.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, again, we may have to make some hard decisions in the budget. If we're not selected, I think we can still get a good playground that checks the boxes. We may just have to get a little creative with the funding. But I think we do have the council's support, and they understand that this has been a long time coming. So, yeah, I'm optimistic. We'll see.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Chris, do you have any other comments? Anything you'd like to see? Have you had a chance to look through the master plan?
The only thing, I've heard both ways, that she's gonna shut off Ashburn. Is that true?
Not currently, no. A long range plan would be if there were some way that we could, so there's a county road that comes in north of Holiday Village Rec Center, technically, but it's basically
Yes.
just a mud road.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna take some liberty and speak for the park board. We would like to see some sort of alternative route that would allow us to basically bollard in the middle of the park. That would kind of reduce the amount of through traffic, but we would never try to propose something like that until we had an alternate route. Just from a safety perspective, there aren't a whole lot of parks that have a public road running through the middle of
That
it.
is true.
So, but yeah, we wouldn't want to do anything like that until we had something in place to divert the traffic.
Yeah, I'm down there enough, the last few years with my boys, and seeing the traffic and stuff, and it's
I
just,
live pretty close to it.
it's,
I live right there on New Year's Eve.
okay.
Yeah, I think I live on Pro Super Bowl, so it's,
It's just so many people, they drive so fast, too fast, and they,
Well, the town that put speed bumps in there.
We did try that, and it really wasn't well received. We did put in a speed limit sign that basically has a radar on it, show you how fast you're going, just to try to get people to be mindful of like, hey, you need to slow down. I haven't found a good deterrent for teenagers yet, so.
well, it's nice when the Santa Claus PD sits up there on that top parking lot. I see people slow down pretty fast whenever there's a
Yes.
that scares me to death, the teenagers sitting through there, just, you take one of those young kids that's trying to one of those cars, and it's not gonna end well.
And we are trying to use other methods first. We're trying to extend the parking to get cars fully off the road, provide a nice safe sidewalk for the people to be able to get out of their vehicle, go to the sidewalk and be in the park instead of using the road as a sidewalk.
So I
So,
was gonna say, the plans include some changes in the parking, so that alleviates some of those safety concerns, but still.
I said something kind of different than I had, that's what I asked. The wooded trail, the pay part, is there any way possible to put some glow in the dark paint down on one of the edges for walking This time of year's not bad. When you get in October, late September, November, it gets darker quicker.
Yeah.
It's hard to see in there, and you're trying to hold your flashlight and walk at the same time, it's kinda, I didn't know if there was something you could do, put in there.
I could look into it. Another option that may take a little bit of time, I know, the town council president has proposed trying to expand the lighting along the trail network throughout the entire town. That might get a little interesting, but I could look into some options maybe. But yeah, that's a good idea.
Did you see what we put, on the trail for our international students when they're walking home?
Yes.
Those are pretty cute.
Landscaping lines.
It'd be a little
Yeah,
tricky because
yeah,
it's in the
It's all
shade,
Yeah, that's true, I guess you wouldn't.
but it's not insurmountable. I mean, we may be able to find a way to. We've got plenty of electrical access down there. We would just have to extend it and then maybe be able to even have like a plug-in LED strip or something on one side of the trail.
And that's a good idea, we walk on the, cause I live right behind the trail, on the north side, so we walk down there to watch fireworks and stuff in the dark all the time, so it's a good idea. I appreciate it.
Any other ideas, thoughts? Okay. Well, I guess we'll close the public meeting
We need to make a motion, just make for some close.
then. I guess just make a motion.
All right, so,
I'll make a motion to adjourn the public meeting.
One second.
all in favor, say aye. Opposed, nay, motion carried. So closure of the public meeting. All right, so moving on to upcoming events.
Yeah, well, I think we've pretty much covered everything else with the report.
Yep, so we'll be there. So, unless there's anything else, that's a sign of the vouchers.
I got this right here.
So, I make a motion to approve the Parks and Rec vouchers in the amount of $12,244.15.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Opposed, nay, motion carried.
And then we have, the Santa Claus Community Center vouchers. I'll make a motion to approve those in the amount of $2,945.95.
All in favor, say aye.
And I'll second.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. All right, is there anything else before we adjourn the meeting?
I think that's all I got, Jesse, you got anything?
Always send you the sign, email. Sorry, I have time.
Oh, yeah.
It should be back at the time.
I forgot all about that, the signage.
Yes.
Oh.
I did forward that on, I don't know if y'all have your phones. So Custom Sign did reach back out and Jesse met with them, I guess what's that been, about 3 weeks ago now? In terms of citing it, and I think their thought with the road sign would be just to put it where the existing sign is. Basically, it would have masonry pillars, brick pillars on each side, with an insert that would have our sign above it, Santa Claus Community Center, and then below it, there would be space for the smaller organizations that use the facility, Community Foundation, Holistic Healing Massage, Eric Elliott with his karate, that we could have enough space to include them, but then also add on in the future. Obviously, we would need to take this type of a plan to the zoning board, but I don't think we'll have any issues. And then they also did a mock-up and a quote for basically just a metal sign that would go on the building itself.
I know John had mentioned, so it looks like they have two different logo designs for the road signage and the building signage. Are they going to be different, or would they be the same, and we just choose the each, or which design we want?
I would think we would want to make them uniform.
Yeah, that's what I think.
And these aren't necessarily set in stone, it's just an idea that they had. And we could even update it. I know we've, obviously with the website update, that we've kind of all updated and made our logos more uniform in terms of the town departments. But then we also have the new master logo for the town, so we could include that maybe. So, like I said, these aren't set in stone, but then from a budgetary perspective, so for the metal sign on the building itself, they are estimating $2,903 installed. And then two options for the road sign, whether it's illuminated or not. So the illuminated version is obviously more expensive, it's around 14,000, and then the non-illuminated sign would be about 10,000. So, and we don't have to make a decision this evening, just kind of thinking through this. I think the sign that would go on the building would be well within our budget, could possibly be done either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. The other options for the road sign, we may have to get creative, maybe even ask the council if we can use CUME building funds for the signage or CUME development funds for the signage. I think typically we budget about $18,000 a year for our building and equipment up there. And so if we were to go, and I do think an illuminated sign would be very nice, just in terms of exposure and people coming through of an evening, being able to see what's in the building. It would take a big chunk out of our building and equipment line item, which can be overcome, I guess. But in the event of something failing or needing to be replaced and we don't have a whole lot of options, then we're kind of asking for more money to fix things. And typically, that's not a policy that I like to have, and I don't think the council would receive it very well.
Did you see John's comments?
Yeah, about the.
He said the logos are two different logos. So would we go, whatever we would put on the sign outside in the building, we would also probably want to put on
The road sign.
the road sign
Agreed.
and the building sign, we would want the same.
Agreed. And I don't know, I mean, it may look kind of tacky, but even from a contrast perspective, if we wanted to paint like a cream block or background on the building so that you can see it, just because the color of the brick, it varies. There's like 3 or 4 different shades in the brick, and I feel like that might get a little bit difficult to see.
You'll see like a